You know, crankbait fishing can be very productive in the wintertime. In this episode, we're going to talk about a few different types of crankbaits, the colors to use, and some tips and tricks on your retrieves to help you be very productive this winter when you're out there crankbait fishing. Stay tuned.
Shane Flynn Outdoors, brought to you by Omnia Fishing. Experience the most personalized tackle shopping on earth. And by Finn's Outdoors. Gear up for every adventure. And also by Trika, engineered to dominate.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! What a big girl! Hey everyone, thanks for stopping back by the channel. Today we're going to be talking about deep dive crankbait fishing in cold water. Now let me start off by giving you my definition of deep water crankbait fishing. If you're fishing a crankbait 13 feet and deeper, I consider that deep water crankbait fishing. We're talking about baits with big bills, not short bills or lipless today, but getting down there in that 13, 15, 17, 19, 20 feet of water to catch bass is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, just like every bait we have in bass fishing, there are 500 different crankbait companies out there with different colors and different styles. I'm going to talk to you about 3 that really have worked for me in the last few years that I like. You have your own choice. And by the way, I don't know, I probably got 300 or 400 different types of deep diving crankbait. I try them all. There's some in these boxes I have that I only use in summer. There's some that I use only in the winter. The ones I'm going to talk about today are my favorites in the winter time. So let's dive right into it on the types of crankbaits that I like to fish with. The first one I really like, and I like it a lot, if I can find the right one, there it is the TThis 300 from Megabass. This is my top deep water, cold water bass fishing crankbait right here. The Megabass X300, really love this bait. 3 reasons I like this bait and it's why it's productive for me. 1, I can cast this thing a long ways. It's got the weights in here to help me cast this a long way, and I can get this thing deep and get it deep fast. The second thing I like about it is its buoyancy. When I'm fishing and I pause it, or I kind of jerk bait this deep, and I'll talk about these retrieves in just a little bit, but this floats up very slow in a very neutral way. It doesn't rise fast. A lot of your crankbaits will rise really fast. This one stays down it floats, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't float fast. And the way that it floats, the way its buoyancy is, it looks natural. And I really like that. It helps me get strikes. I get a lot of bites on this Megabass crankbait. And then the third reason is the action. I really like the action on this. It's tight. It's not super tight, but the action on it is really good. It gets down there deep and it has the right action to drive the strikes. The hooks on these are really sharp too. So good hooks on these as well. So that is my top deep water cold crankbait bait right here is the Megabass 300, X300 if I'm not mistaken. That's right, Deep X300. One of my favorites. We'll talk about colors in a minute, but this is my favorite. Now my second one that I would tell you that I really like is the Tactical Bass DD crank. By the way, this goes down to about 19, is about as deep as I get it. It's between that 16 to 19 feet is the depth on that one. And the Tactical DD75 is my second favorite. And I know it goes to 18 feet because I wrote 18 on the back on it with the Sharpie. So I do that from time to time. I'll write the depth that I get it down to somewhere either under the bill or on the back. But this is the Tactical DD75. Similar reasons, but this has a little bit different action. I can throw this a long way, and this one actually gets deeper faster than the Megabass, but it gets down there fast. It rises a little bit faster than the Megabass, but it's still got a pretty slow rise on it. The action on this is tighter than the Megabass. It's a lot tighter. It has a really tight action on the wobble, and I get a lot of strikes on this. And one of the things that I really like with this one is I'll get this one down there as fast as I can, let it pause, and then just burn it in. If it hits something, it hits something. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it really has a good action. I get it down quick. It's a great wintertime bait. And that's the river to sea Tactical DD Crank 75. That's a really good crankbait in my opinion. Catch a lot of fish on that. Now the other crankbait is I like, and they're kind of two, but they're from the same company, 6 Cents. The 6 Cents DD series, and now their new pressure series. Now the DD series I like, it gets down there pretty quick. I can throw it a long way, but it doesn't have a counterweight in there, I don't think. But it's still a heavy bait. What I like about this is the wide profile on it. It's a wide profile bait, and when I'm pausing it, you can see it from a long way. It's not because of the color. It's just it's got a bigger profile, and I like that bigger profile sometimes in a bait. When that big profile drives a strike, I go to this 6 Cents. I want to say it's a DD series 6 Cents crankbait. Good crankbait. But the one that I picked up here recently that I like is called their pressure series, and it's a flat-sided crankbait, and it's got a different action, and it's a great tight action, and it has just a little bit different profile, and it's good crankbait. And that's their flat. It's a flat series, not quite as flat as like the Fritz sides, but it's a flat-sided crankbait, and I really like the action on this. It does really well. So that is the pressure series, and I think they have different styles in the pressure series, but the flat-sided one, really good. Really productive bait in the wintertime. So those are 3 baits. Like I said, there's hundreds of them out there. These are a few that I recommend, but let's jump into something that everybody will tell you has a different opinion on. So let's talk about color. Color of crankbaits. Just like when I jig fish, I keep it simple in the winter. I'm going to go with a natural color, whatever the hatch of the lake is. So if it's shad color, I'm going with this shad color. I'm going to keep it simple. Here's a bone color. So here's somewhat of a natural color in the Tactical DD75. I'm going to try to match the hatch for the most part. Even if it's a little stained water, I'm going to stick with that natural color, unless there's something like you just had a flood or something like that, a major rainstorm, then I'm going to change to a different color. The 2 other colors I keep in stock is not going to surprise you. I like chartreuse. Chartreuse is a great, even in clear water. Sometimes you be fishing a natural color all day, you're not getting a bite, you pick up the chartreuse and I go, hey, I hadn't seen that chartreuse color. It'll drive a strike. So I call it my shock and awe, and the other shock and awe color I have is red. So these are the 2 other alternate colors that I will pick up to. Now, a lot of people like to use crawfish colors, and that's fine, they're great. I've got a ton of them in the boxes down here, but these are the 2 primarily I go with, is that chartreuse red if I'm not fishing a natural color. Again, call it my shock and awe colors, chartreuse. I'll fish this right in the bright and clear water, as well as murky water, and this in all color as well, all color water, stained, clear, murky, tea color, coffee color, whatever you want. Both these work in it, along with your natural color. So I keep it simple on color. There's so many different colors out there. You find the one you like, stick with it. But these 3, staying natural and chartreuse and red in the wintertime really do me good. So I can't complain. Now, the one thing that's important is what you're throwing your crankbait on. And one thing you won't get a lot of argument about is the type of rod. Most fishermen will tell you a moderate action crankbait rod is what you need, and I totally agree. Now, this is the new Trika crankbait series rod. Great rod, good moderate action. This is a 7'4" medium heavy. Really like this rod. Good moderate flex. When I stick a bass with this treble hooks, it stays hooked. So a really good rod, the Trika crankbait series rod. Now, along with the rod, it's important, is one of the most important components is the reel, of course. A lot of people want to talk about gear ratio. That's not the first thing that I'm concerned about with my reel. The most important factor for me for crankbait fishing with my reel is I want a reel I can throw really far. Now, this is the Trika TI100 that I got paired with this Trika crankbait rod. The reason I really like this reel, I've got 45 adjustment points that I can tune this reel to get distance on my crankbaits. And I'll get 7 to 9 yards further with this reel once I get it tuned, further than one of my good dial reels. Just a phenomenal rod, or phenomenal reel, I'm sorry. Both rods and reels are phenomenal, but the reel, you can really tune in, you get a lot of distance, and that's the Trika TI100. I pair it on the Trika crankbait rod. Right now, you can get the rods and reels. All of them are $50 off for Christmas if you're interested in the Trika product. So really recommend that. So the other thing is the gear ratio, controversial. I use 8-to-1, and I'll tell you why. Everybody will tell you need a lower gear ratio. The reason I like 8-to-1 is I like to get my bait down fast. And if one of the retrieves I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is jerk baiting a deep water crankbait, and I need to pick up the line quick, I can pick it up quick with this 8-to-1 gear ratio. If I need to slow it down, I can slow the cranking of the reel down. I can speed it up and crank it up. I'd rather have speed and then slow it down if I need to. Now, I used to fish the lower speed. I will just tell you, now that I went to 8-to-1, it's easier fishing to me. I don't have to fight and reel as much, and I can get that crankbait down there quick, which is what I like. When I figure out the depth I need to be at, I want to get it down there quick. I want to keep it in that zone. I can slow it down to keep it there, or I can jerk it and pause it, whatever I'd like to do to keep it there. 8-to-1 gear ratio is what I'm going with. So 12-pound fluorocarbon, medium heavy rod, that's what I fish. I also make sure I keep a snap on here because I will go through several crankbaits in a day and I don't want to have to retie all the time. So that's my setup for crankbait fishing. Medium heavy, moderate action, 12-pound fluorocarbon on a reel that you can cast a long ways. All right. Let's talk about a few other things here. How to retrieve a crankbait. Everybody has the way they like to do it. I got 3 retrieves I'll tell you that I use. The first retrieve I have is just cast it out there, get it out there and just start cranking. We all have done that. It works. You catch bass. If you hit the bottom, if it deflects off something, you might get a strike. What I will tell you though, folks, a lot of people go, I got to dig the bottom. You don't have to dig the bottom, especially in the wintertime. Yes, if you hit something, it could cause a strike, but I don't purposely go out there and try to dig the bottom in the wintertime. Sometimes it does work, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to keep it constant contact with the bottom. I like to keep it right above the bass's head, so if I know they're at 15 feet, I'm going to keep it at 14 feet, or if they're on a ledge, I'm going to keep it right on just above that ledge, whatever it may be. I may tip it every once in a while to see if there's something down there, get a good spin. Another reason to have a faster reeling gear ratio. If I want to just give it a quick spin and get a little deep and bounce it off the bottom, you can do that. But you don't have to dig the bottom. Second retrieve, you probably already do this, but I do this a little bit different, is crank, reel and pause. But let me tell you how my reel and pause. I do my reel and pauses really fast to start with. Just get it down there and then a couple cranks, pause, couple cranks, pause, couple cranks, pause, couple cranks, pause. Second, just a second. Now, if I don't get anything after about 5, 7, 10 minutes, I'll go a couple cranks, 1001, 1002. I'll mess with it. Usually I don't have to change it more than a second or two. So my pauses are real quick on the pauses. And I'll slow it down if I need to, but I like to keep those pauses really quick. Just a second. And that really works. Catch a lot of bass with that technique. But I will tell you the one technique that I usually catch most of my winter fish on, probably at least 35, 40%, is I cast that out there a long ways and I get it down deep and then I sweep it. I keep it deep, sweep it. Another reason, I kind of like deep jerk baiting. If you want to think of it that way. I sweep it, let it pause, sweep it, let it pause. Another reason I want that high gear ratio, if I need to pick up that line quick, I can pick up that line quick. So catch a lot of fish doing that. I get it down to that 16, 17 feet, keep it in that zone and just pause it when I need to, sweep it like a jerk bait. Sometimes you sweep a jerk bait. You don't just always do it that way, but sweep it and I catch a ton of bass that way. So that's my 3 techniques on retrieve. Catch a lot of fish on those 3 retrieves. Most everybody uses the first one, right? But the other 2, play with them a little bit. See what you think. You'll probably catch some fish. Well, hey folks, thanks for tuning in. I hope you get out there and catch some big bass crankbait fishing this winter. And until next time, tight lines and have fun fishing.